So, hello everyone. Today we are here at week 8 of the live sessions, and it's been quite a long journey up till now. More than half of the journey is covered, so that is a appreciable thing for all of us who might be looking at the video now or later. So we have covered live sessions till week 7, and today we'll be doing it for the week 8. Up till now, we have been basically discussing about different learners in terms of how they have been progressing, probably what kind of backgrounds they are from, and how are they, how is their experience in attempting these questions of the NPTEL weekly assignments. So broadly, the picture which I've been able to draw from all the interactions is that most of them who are from a student background, they are basically doing it as a part of their academic requirement, and they have been attending these sessions as of now. And and mostly they have been doing it simultaneous with their course curriculum. They have been studying in their respective colleges. So a majority of them is basically these students who are into their undergraduate courses from different parts of the country, who are enrolled in this particular course of understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. And just pause. Huh? हाँ फिर
बस लेके फिर वो जब लोग कर
आप लोग कर दीजिए, मेरे पास चाबी है।
ऑफिस की चाबी है।
मेन गेट की चाबी है, मैंने इशू करा रखी है।
ये सब आप प्रोग्राम में गेट लॉक करते हैं।
हाँ. Okay. Sorry for that brief pause. So, apart from these students, there are many other, people who are also from different backgrounds. So, say for example, few are from a professional domain, and they have been, working in their either in organizations, or they are faculty members at different academic institutions, and playing multiple roles. So they are into teaching, as well as they are also into playing a critical role in terms of activities of entrepreneurship, and guiding student teams, and also setting up incubators, or being a part of an incubator in their own institutions. So we also see a lot of people who are kind of connected with entrepreneurship, and incubation support. They are also a part of these this course, and they are also kind of going through the course structure. Maybe most of them are not doing it from a credit perspective, but more in terms of understanding the different options available to them. What are the different incubation supports from the different institutions, what kind of help they can get from those specific institutions. And I think that kind of clarity really helps not only the students, but also their faculty guides in terms of understanding what is required for different student teams in terms of building up their product, or building up their startup idea in terms of entity which you would want to get into the market. So that is the kind of richness which this platform basically provides us in terms of the takeaways which students can have, the faculty members can have, and those from the professional backgrounds they can actually have, right? So that has been the brief journey up till now, and we have a couple of people who have joined in. So basically, we can have a quick round of introduction from you, and then we will proceed with today's discussion. So we have got Ayush. Hello, Ayush. So Ayush has probably maybe some issue. He's not here right now. Do we have Miss Bhavna?
Hello, sir.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Good, good.
Okay. So would you like to share how it has been going for you? I mean, these sessions and from your perspective, what is it that you are looking forward to?
Sir, actually, I'm not a student. I think मैंने आपको पहले भी बता दिया है in the previous sessions. So
Yes, yes,
just out
yes.
of interest मैं कोर्स कर रही हूँ
Mhm.
and I'm not sure whether मैं एग्जाम दूंगी या नहीं but just for my own learning मैं कोर्सेज ले रही हूँ.
That's fine. That's fine because in past we have seen many faculty members as well who had joined in, and their primary idea was to derive more information and understanding of how to proceed, how to guide students, and if they are coming up with an idea or something.
सर
So
एक्चुअली मेरा एक और एजेंडा ये भी था क्योंकि मैं जिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम कर रही हूँ मेरे भी टीम में कुछ डिजाइनर्स हैं तो मैं
Mhm.
उनको भी सजेस्ट करना चाह रही हूँ कि हाउ दीज कोर्सेज आर गुड सो आई थॉट पहले मैंने भी एक्सपीरियंस लेना चाहिए ऑब्वियसली आई ऑल्सो हैव इंटरेस्ट टुवर्ड्स स्टार्टअप एंड गोइंग फॉरवर्ड तो बोथ वेज मेरे लिए फायदा है
Mm, 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 mm.
इसलिए
So can you tell us more about your organization? What all activities you carry out, and what is your role there?
सर एक्चुअली मैं एक रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम कर रही हूँ और मेरा रोल उसमें एक विजुअल कम्युनिकेशन डिज़ाइनर का है और क्योंकि ये रिसर्च काफ़ी साइंटिफिक होती है तो लेमैन को अंडरस्टैंड कराने के लिए विजुअल कम्युनिकेशन का वी टेक हेल्प तो कॉम्प्लेक्स रिसर्च फाइंडिंग्स होती है जहाँ पे बहुत सारे फार्मूलाज यूज होते हैं बहुत नंबर्स होते हैं जो लेमैन के लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है समझना तो इन दैट केस लेमैन हो गया या इवन गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स हो गए तो उनको इजीली कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए विजुअल कम्युनिकेशन की हेल्प लेते हैं तो
Okay.
सपोज कुछ इन्फोग्राफिक्स हो गए रिसर्च फाइंडिंग्स को हम इन्फोग्राफिक में कन्वर्ट करते हैं मे बी छोटी रिपोर्ट्स हो गई बड़ी रिपोर्ट्स हो गई सो हाउ इजीली people can read and understand the information understand the research findings so basically my role is that and I have couple of graphic designers and architects so
So you're also having design background, is it?
yes sir actually I am an architect and industrial designer
Nice, nice.
although product में मेरा था interest but and मतलब मैंने startup भी किया था कभी few years back but somehow didn't work out so well so that's why I have this inclination towards startup and maybe down the line शायद मैं फिर से I will go for a startup in product design.
Right. So once there was an entrepreneur who had come to my college, and I was a faculty there, and so she was talking about different kind of entrepreneurs, and she said that if even if you are in a part of an organization and you try to do something new, something creative, try to onboard a lot of people, loop them in, have some sparking idea, and then you try to engage a lot of people in, then you are also in the league of entrepreneurs, and what that is called is entrepreneur. So within an organization, if you are doing those activities of looping people in, and making them part of your idea, and then trying to kind of implement a small idea, something within the organization, and it could be for any purpose. I mean, it could be for their well-being, it could be for their mental well-being, or it would be something around engagement for on Fridays. So even those activities also kind of propels the kind of spirit which is required for an entrepreneur. So even being a part of big organization gives you the opportunity to test your entrepreneurial skills, and I think that has been done already by you in terms of exploring the journey in startup previously, and then still being a part of larger group, you're also thinking on those lines and attending these courses. So I think that's a very good take, Bhavna, and I really wish you
थैंक यू सर.
a lot of success.
सर सर तो आप क्या सजेस्ट कर सकते हो, जैसे मेरी जो प्रोफाइल है उसमें जो आपने ये टर्म बताया है एंटरप्रेन्योर, राइट? उसमें कैन यू गिव एन एग्जांपल, बिकॉज प्रोडक्ट में तो मुझे समझ आ जाता है, बट जैसे उसमें थोड़े टैंजिबल आउटपुट्स रहते हैं, प्रोडक्ट्स रहते हैं, बट दिस इज ये काफी डिजिटली रहता है सब, तो एक आप एग्जांपल मुझे दे सकते हैं कि
So this
जो
is this is basically about taking a lead and then trying to coming up with something which kind of engages people. Now, for example, in your kind of a profile, I mean, everything must be going on in a smooth and processed flow. So essentially, you can generate certain, you would be facing certain problems of collaboration and timing. So in order to get everybody on same page, you can also think about some kind of weekly activities or bi-monthly activities, not pertaining directly to your work, but something around how you can engage people in a much more fun ways, and so that you develop that kind of a comfort level or something. So not necessarily you do it from a work perspective, because that anyways will need to happen because you are in a environment where you engage with, I think you are from a research background, research think tank. So you must be engaging with researchers, you must be engaging with, people from the editorial team, and then, since you are trying to create visualizations. So I think that those things would anyways would be happening there, right? So but what I've seen that in organizations, even when they're part of a larger group, people from different domains, it's really hard to get everybody on same page. There are a lot of meetings happening here and there, and then still the outcome not coming out. So which requires a certain kind of comfort level. So you can try that something in terms of, some kind of once a month activity wherein, you group together and you do something, a fun task can be, taken and given. So not necessarily within across teams, but then it could be something which, happens within your organization. So it could be something which, every employee kinds of, looks forward to in a month or in a week. So like, when I was a part of Infosys, they used to have Friday Funda, wherein, since Saturday and Sunday were holidays, so once a month or once a week, we used to conduct these activities where everybody would come on board. We'll play certain games, we'll discuss, we'll talk, and then, that kind of comfort and rapport, develops within the team itself. So even if, some critical projects are coming in or critical deadlines are coming in, everybody is much more cooperative and constructive in terms of, dealing with that situation. So these kind of, engagements and activities kind of build a kind of a healthy atmosphere within the team and across the teams as well. So maybe, that is something which could be tried, which could be attempted from your end. And you can do some kind of a small pilot, this thing within your team, within your, whatever design team you're having. And if it works out well, you can actually, start looping in more teams, from research, and within research, there could be different domains, somebody from air, somebody from, energy.
दैट्स अ वंडरफul idea, sir. Thank you so much. I will definitely try.
All right, all right. So
Maybe
can
in
you
the next call, maybe I can give you some feedback on how it went.
So can you think aloud? I mean, what could you do? I mean, on these lines for your team or something?
Right now, I can't. I can only think of some game based on, obviously should be around research and science or something because most of the people are from science background. So some fun science activity I can think of.
Nice, nice. So keep that enthusiasm, and please do conduct something and share something in the next week's live session.
Yeah, sure,
Yes,
sure.
so you've been one
Thank
of
you.
the consistent, learners of this course since past few weeks. So thank you for joining in, and probably we'll start our session for today. Okay.
Okay.
So please let me know when you are able to see my screen. Can you please confirm is the screen if the screen is visible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Great, great. So as I say in each and every session that we have set protocol, and that's how we go about beginning the session, which is basically the initial few minutes are about discussing with whosoever learner had joined the meeting, to understand their background, to understand how they are progressing in their attempts, if there are any challenges which they are facing in terms of this particular course, or besides in whatever environment they are working, probably that. And then how we can actually build this spirit of entrepreneurship, and develop some kind of incubation, so that the healthy ideas they survive, and it is brought into an organization so that it makes a greater impact, it makes a greater change. So that is how we begin our sessions. And then there is a few set of slides which basically talks about the overview of the course, the course timeline, about the various marking schemes, how do you attempt your final exam if you have registered for the course, and then there is a brief recap of week-wise content, and then we have a set of questions which are from previous year, but which are pertaining to the current and the ongoing week's content. So we try and attempt those questions so that we understand how the questions are attempted, what is the thought process which is required in order to attempt these questions, and probably what was the logic and what was the reference on the basis of which we can say that okay, this is the right answer. So in a few of those questions, probably wherever I could find, I have a slide reference, which is basically a screenshot of the content shared by the team who is presenting, or shared by the expert who had come in that particular session. So it's a basically a snapshot, which basically acts as a reference, so how this answer is true, and on the basis of this, we are saying that, right? And then this is followed by a brief content recap of the entire week's content, so that one gets an understanding that okay, these were all the things which were covered. Again, it's in the form of a snapshot. And finally, we also, discuss, what had been the questions in the discussion forum, what have been the responses to those questions. And that is how we end our session by, kind of again opening up the portal, which is the NPTEL platform, and showing, where and, how you can access different contents, what are the different tabs which are available, and how you can see and assess your progress, and how you can access the content material along with the additional learning materials, right? The idea is that in every session we have particularly seen that there have been new joiners. Okay, so it is not the case that the one who has joined in the first session has been continuously joined in. There were instances where even later down the line, like week 6, week 7, we saw new people joining in, and taking benefit from the sessions. So, and that is why we have this kind of a protocol where we have a standardized process of having certain things which are consistent in our presentation, so that even if there is a new learner who joins in that particular week and has not experienced or attended previous sessions, for them also the content will hold good, will give enough knowledge, will give enough background and understanding, so that the entire content and entire course is kind of understandable from that point of view, right? So that remains our idea, that remains our intent, that even if you're joining for the first time, you should get the most benefit out of it. So with that intent, we have been attempting these sessions. Okay, so we'll be beginning now. So, like I said, this is our week 8, and this entire course is of 12 weeks duration. So, after this, we'll be, having 4 more sessions. And probably, there was also a discussion regarding, having one complimentary session of 1 hour, wherein we try to, discuss and, see, how the progress has been and, kind of just, see the complete journey, and, which can add value to the learners just before their exams, right? So the course title is Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. The instructor of the course is Professor VK Chakravarti sir, who is from IDC School of Design, IIT Bombay. My name is Abhishek, and I am currently a research scholar at IIT Roorkee in the Department of Design. And previously, in terms of my education, I'm an architect and industrial designer. And after that, I worked in companies like Infosys and Think Design. And apart from that, I have also, initiated a startup wherein I had a brief experience of that as well. And then coming on to the field of teaching and education, wherein, I was associated with a few design institutes where I was a design educator. And then I decided, to kind of take a pause and then, go ahead with education once again. So I became a student. So currently I'm a PhD student, and this is currently my second year as of now. So welcome once again to the week 8 live session of course on understanding incubation and entrepreneurship. Okay. So the general agenda which lies is that this session is basically to help you. Now, this help could be understood in various mediums. So it basically helps you in terms of attempting questions and the process of attempting those questions, in terms of the marking scheme, and also kinds of supports you with, content snapshots, right? So that has been the idea, that the course is aiding you do a lot of these things. What we basically do is we solve the week specific, previous year assignments. What this basically means is that in the previous year's run, there were certain set of questions, like there are these questions live in the current way, although the questions are different. So what we do is that we try to attempt those questions so that we understand the kind of pattern and the typology of the questions, the language and framing of the questions. And these are basically a set of 10 questions like you have in the NPTEL platform. All right. Okay. What we also do is we try to respond to the queries and questions in the discussion forum. So I believe most of you must be now aware of the discussion forum. It is a functionality uh, which is available in the NPTEL platform. So you log into NPTEL platform and you have something called as ask a question. You click on that, you arrive on a Google, discussion forum powered by Google. And basically the idea is that all the learners are enrolled in this discussion forum. So anybody has a query, you post it, and each and every learner basically gets access to that question, and it helps me as well in terms of answering the question, because everybody will get to understand, what has been the answer to the question. Okay. Like I said, we also do a content recap of the ongoing week, which basically involves, snapshots of expert presentations, along with me articulating those content. So basically, my role is in terms of revisiting those content and kind of helping you understand what we were talking about, maybe through examples which were mentioned in the lecture, or probably more examples, so that the understanding could be much more better. Okay. This is what we usually follow in the live sessions. We request each and every learner to keep yourself on mute so that we try and avoid any kind of noise and voice disturbances. Obviously, if you have a question, you can, you know, raise that question. But during that, you can, put yourself on unmute, and then, you can make your point. But otherwise, please, there is a genuine request, because we upload all these recordings in the YouTube, and the idea remains that the content should be available for all the learners. Okay, so even if a learner is not being able to be a part of this live session, but then whenever they get time, they can actually go through the content, and they can actually understand based on their convenience of time in a self-paced manner. All right. Like I said, all the questions, the best platform of asking questions is the discussion forum. How it is best is because even all the learners are involved here. All right. You've got me as a TA who is involved, and then you have got NPTEL team as well. We are involved. So we have got three different stakeholders which are involved, which are reviewing the content here, which are helping the learners out with respect to their questions or queries related to technical issues or content related issues. So that is how this is basically powered by all these three stakeholders. So it's a rich platform, and do make use of it. And recently we saw that one of the learners raised a question that the transcript related issue. Okay, so transcript related issue beyond week 5 was not available. All right, and we have raised this issue with the NPTEL team, and I haven't heard from them, but it has been already assigned to a relevant resource who is kind of taking care of this kind of issue. So that is how discussion platform actually helps. And probably there would have been learners who probably would be getting to know this transcript functionality for the very first time. So the discussion forum actually helps in kind of making people aware about different functionalities, and the limitations which are there, right? And basically this is a brief preview of how the the platform looks like, and you have these different tabs by which you can access the content. Obviously, if you're a part of this journey, you would be now quite familiar with each one of these tabs. But okay, but the idea remains that even if you're visiting for the first time, you should be able to understand and relate different kind of functionalities which are there. So the announcement section helps you in terms of different notices from the NPTEL team with respect to the content release. All right. Along with what is the deadline of each week's assignment, and going forward they'll also be telling about admit cards and exam related details, right? So it's kind of a very crucial space which you need to watch out. And although whatever contents are available here, it also reaches to you through an email mode. So even if you are an enrolled learner, through email, you would be getting a lot of understanding, right? So I think that is again a great backend functionality, that you are receiving information from different sources, and the same kind of content is made available through a push. Because many times it happens that with a lot of work, with a lot of course content in academia, this kind of, we lose this track on, oh, we have to submit an assignment. So that is where these announcements really help in, acting as a reminder to, revisit the stuff, submit your assignments in a prompt, in a prompt way, and then go ahead the course. And like I mentioned about ask a question, it is basically related to the discussion forum. It leads to that platform wherein you can post questions. Progress talks about your individual progress and assessments. So how you have been performing in the past 8 assignments, you'll be able to see your progress. It will be basically out of 100. And that's the kind of marks you have obtained while attempting those questions. All right. Okay. So these are the uh, address bars wherein you can actually see these content. Now, as I always say, there is no point in, taking a note or a snapshot of it, because both the links are basically available somewhere here. So, okay. So when you click on the problem solving session, it basically leads to a link called click here, which basically leads to an MS Excel sheet. And this MS Excel sheet basically has uh, different columns and rows. There is this Google Drive link, and then you have got week-wise lectures, and here you see the YouTube links. Right. So that is how, basically you can gain access to this. Just a minute.
बस मैं निकल रहे हैं शाम में मैं बात नहीं चल निकल ठीक से की चार्जेस इनका जीरा हो कहते हैं सिलवास तो ले देना मन चले लेंगे आएंगे आज कभी भी बाद में आ सकते हैं अभी ये यहाँ से ले जाना और मेरा कभी इंटरनेट चले
तो ये
आप पास साथ में
अच्छा अपने साथ ले लेना। मैं यहीं पे लॉक कर लूँ।
लेकिन अगर मैं आपको एक जो वहाँ से ले लेना कल आपसे ले लूँगा वहाँ से आ रहे से
अच्छा ठीक ठीक मैं आपके साथ। Thank you. Okay, so sorry for that brief pause. Going ahead. Okay, so this is the course overview, and like everybody is aware, the title of the course is Understanding Incubation and Entrepreneurship. It is by Professor B.K. Chakravarti sir, who is from the IDC School of Design, which is at IIT Bombay, Hawaii. And he has taken a great role in, the DIC there, which is the Design Innovation Center. Okay. So that is where he also contributes, and he has done great works, great projects which are coming out of DIC. If you go through the course on innovation by design, it basically talks about a lot of case studies which are coming out from DIC. So great work which has been done. And if you are interested in design and innovation, I recommend that you also go and attend the course on innovation by design. Okay, so the course is of 12 weeks duration. We started at 24th of July. The course end date is 13th of October. We can say approximately a month's time is left. All right. So we've got 1 month time. The week 8 assignment, which is basically we are discussing in today's session, the deadline is 20th September. So you've got 4 days to work on it, to attempt it. And I would also like to highlight here that, you can have multiple attempts till the deadline. Okay. So what it means is that, say, for example, if the deadline is 20th of September, so you can actually attempt before 20th September, you can submit it multiple times. All right. So what you can also do is that you go through the lecture and the questions pertaining to the lecture you can actually submit. Then again you go and visit another lecture of that week, then you submit. So incrementally also you can do that. Or what also you can do is that you can actually go through the entire content, right? And then you can submit. Okay, so it basically depends on how the learner is comfortable in terms of going through the content and proceeding eventually. Okay, the final date of the examination is 28th of October, and those who have registered, basically they will be going and attempting this in a physical mode. So what do you mean by physical mode? So like currently the sessions are happening online. This will be in offline mode, wherein you will be visiting the exam center physically. है ना, आपको जाना पड़ेगा उस सेंटर पे. You have to attend the examination. It will be basically in a 3-hour slot. So 9 to 12 or 2 to 5, you have to sit there, attempt question. It could be one of them. So depending upon your preference, depending upon the kind of centers you have opted for, you'll be given one of them based on different criteria and the first come first or whatever the background decision making is. That is how you'll be going through that examination. All right. So this is the screen, when you click here, which is basically your progress, right? So if you have been a diligent learner, if you have been attempting the quizzes in a timely manner, you will be able to see your assessment scores. Okay. So week wise, you have 1, 2, 3, and you would be getting scores out of 100. Okay, so it depends, whatever your marking is, whatever your attempt is, you'll be getting those scores. So this basically helps you evaluate how you're progressing, how you have been able to perform while going through the content and understanding it and attempting it. Okay, so basically the idea is that that there has to be certain traction of evaluation, and which kinds of gives a preliminary view of that. Okay. Now, this is something which is quite relevant to be informed, that the course is completely free for the learners. Like we have been seeing that, there have been learners who are here to more understand and know about the content, and rather, doing it for marks or credits. But, we have got both kind of, both user set. So we have got students and we have got professionals. Even professionals, they some of them are doing it for certifications, and we can say not for certification. Okay, so we have got a mixed audience, and their agendas are different, their understanding and perception about what to take out, what are takeaways. So it's completely different. But nevertheless, I think the idea is that you understand from the content, you derive the maximum benefit out of it, so that you can utilize in your own journey in whichever form you want. So if you are looking for certificate, okay, uh, which means that you need to pay the exam fee and attempt the examination. However, if your agenda is to learn, you can do it completely free. There's no charges, to go through the content, to go through the week wise case studies. I think the brilliant case studies which are presented here, you can actually go through it completely free. So the last date for examination was 28th of August, which was then an extended date. It was earlier, I think 21st. It was extended till 28th, and now I don't think there is any no further extension up till now. But it completely depends on the NPTEL team to make that kind of a decision making. So as of now, it was till 28th of August. We have not seen any further development in that perspective. All right. Okay. Coming to the examination certificate. Now, this becomes critical for those who are doing it for, certificate and, obtaining the credits requirement. So for credits requirement, basically you need to earn the certificate. Now to earn the certificate, you need to check on all these criteria. So the first criteria is about the internals or the weekly assignments. The second is externals, which you can say as your physical proctored examinations. And the third is the criteria which involves internal and externals. Okay. So I think it's very clearly evident. So for internals, we'll assess the best 8 assignments out of 12 and we will derive 25% weightage marks out of it. Externals ka 75% weightage will be given to your final exam. And then internal and external has their own particular individual criteria. So in the internal, you need to score more than 10 out of 25. And here you need to score more than 30 out of 75. Which means that in total, you need to score more than 40 out of 100. So you need to satisfy, all these criterias. You need to hold this good. You need to hold this good, which means that you will be holding this good. Okay. And again, the important part is best 8. So you have got this leverage that, we are not counting all the 12 assignments. The best 8 will be counted. So, you have that luxury of, having the best foot front. Okay. We'll go ahead. Now, this is basically a recap. The idea is that you see, how incrementally we have been progressing in different weeks. So from week 1 to week 4, and then the next slide you will see from week 5 to week 8. We started from GDC, and the questions like why startups fail, mistakes by startup, and I think this is something which will be visiting many times in this due course. The idea is to make you realize and understand that these have been the common mistakes, and it's preferred that to try to avoid it. Okay, so that is what we that is how we learn from our mistakes and learn from the history, right? So the idea is to go through what decisions were made, and how it was reflected, and what learnings we can derive out of it, right? So that is how we progressed from week 1 to week 2, going at till week 3, which we saw the 7 concerns and the aspects from Professor Chakravarti sir, and we went to the Solar 1 case study by Mr. Avinash, who was IITB alumni, and talked about how he converted his academic project into he's working on it as a startup idea. Okay, so that is again a very interesting journey. Going ahead to the week 5, we saw a lot of medtech stories, and then in the week 6, it was about human-centered innovation, where again we are talking about with the IITB alumni, Ms. Shilpi and Ms. Dhyan, who talked about their journey, their challenges, and how they are working into the current setup. So week 7 was about humanizing technology, and we talked about the business model canvas, and finally we reached to week 8, where we talked about sign. Sign is basically Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We also talked about the lean model canvas. I think it was Mr. Rakesh who was talking about it. And then we had a success story by Attenberg, which was again basically co-founded by an ITB alumni who shares his complete journey. And then we also have ALM, which is basically the additional learning material. All right. So there is a lot of content. There's a lot of rich content which is available, and if you have time, you go through them, and you will be, getting all those, inspirations from all these contents. Okay, so there are essentially two typology of questions. So there is multi-select, uh, which means that there are multiple correct responses. All right. इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि इसमें इस सवाल के कई जवाब सही होंगे। इसमें सिर्फ एक जवाब नहीं सही होगा, इसमें कई जवाब सही होंगे। जैसे व्हाट डू यू वांट इन योर मिल्क टी? तो मुझे हो सकता है कार्डेमम भी चाहिए हो, मुझे टी मसाला भी चाहिए हो सकता है मुझे शुगर भी चाहिए हो, और हो सकता है मुझे जिंजर भी चाहिए हो। सो देयर कुड बी पॉसिबिलिटी दैट द आंसर्स 2 से ज़्यादा सही हो सकते हैं, 4 तक भी। ओके? However, there is also a set of questions in which only one response is correct. Correct. All right. So I can have only one of them. So which soft drink you want? Maybe, I would prefer Fanta. Okay. But then I can only choose one of them. Okay. Only one. Only one. Here, more than one. ठीक है, एक से ज्यादा बेसिक थिंग है। और जब आप अटेम्प्ट करेंगे योर क्वेश्चंस, यू विल आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड दैट द सॉफ्टवेयर इज सच दैट इट वोंट अलाउ यू टू सेलेक्ट मल्टीपल। सो इफ यू हैव दिस circle shaped option, you can select only one. If you have these check boxes, you can actually select multiple of them. Okay, so I think that is that. If you have been going through the questions, अभी तक ये चीज बहुत अच्छे से आपको क्लियर हो चुकी होगी। ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं। मार्किंग ऑफ मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस, ये हमने कई बार एक्सप्लेन किया है, और शुरुआत में वी हैव सीन दैट स्टूडेंट हैड सम कंसर्न्स अबाउट हाउ द मार्क्स आर being allotted. I was a part of a course in my previous tenure, and wherein this question was raised, and that's where I realized that uh, bringing clarity to this point is very very important for the learners in terms of because it kind of connects with your marking as well. Okay, so let me explain it with the example. So there is a question. Okay, and you have got options A, B, C, D. Okay. So there's a dummy question, and these are your options. Okay. Now scenario 1 says, which is this scenario. Okay, we are talking about this scenario. If all options chosen by the student are correct and no correct answer is assumed, then full marks. So for example, this is a question for which the correct answers are A, C, and D. Okay. Now, while I am attempting, so for example, this is a multi-select question. While attempting, I select A, C, and D, which means that I get full marks. All right. Let's come to scenario 2, which says, if at least one incorrect answer has been chosen, then no marks are awarded. Okay. Now, for example, I selected A, B, C, and D. Okay, which means that I've selected a wrong response. In that, I will get no marks. All right. मैंने एक गलत जवाब चुना है। थर्ड सिनेरियो पे आते हैं। If only correct responses are chosen, but not all correct answers have chosen, then partial marks proportional to the number of correct answers are chosen. Okay. Now, again, if you see this example, what I'm trying to say is that you selected C and D, but you didn't select A. बट आपने जो सेलेक्ट किया है वो दोनों राइट रिस्पॉन्सेज हैं। ठीक है, इस सिनेरियो में आपको पार्शियल मार्क्स मिलेंगे। आई होप दैट इज क्लियर टू ईच वन, एंड अगर कोई है जिसको कोई डाउट है, यू कैन आस्क मी राइट नाउ, आई कैन क्लैरिफाई इट इन मच मोर बेटर वे, बट आई थिंक दैट आई हैव मेड इट क्वाइट क्लियर दैट हाउ योर मार्किंग विल बी अवॉर्डेड एंड व्हाट आर द 3 डिफरेंट सिनेरियोज व्हिच आर बीइंग प्रेजेंटेड। ओके, okay, so finally we are here. We are here with a set of 10 questions. Each question will have either one answer which is correct or multiple answers which are correct, depends on the kind of and the typology of the questions which you are attempting. Okay, so the first question is, as mentioned in module 8 by Mr. Manoj Meena, a designer's job is to address which of the following factors? Okay. हम बात कर रहे हैं मनोज मीना की। ओके, which of the following factors relates with designer's job? Is it customer aspirations? Is it business scheme? Is it product brief or none of the above? Okay. Take some time to bring back your memories of who Mr. Manoj is, and basically, all right, it's fine. So just give a thought to it, and then we'll try to attempt this question. Okay, just give a thought. Just give me a minute as well, and we'll start. Meanwhile, you can think about the question. Okay. So we'll continue our question set. The first question is right in front of you. As mentioned in the module by Mr. Manoj Meena, a designer's job is to address which of the following factors? इनमें से कौन से फैक्टर्स ऐसे हैं जो डिजाइनर के जॉब को जस्टिफाई करते हैं या उसको एड्रेस करते हैं? मतलब इफ यू आर अ डिजाइनर, you need to address one of these following factors. Okay, तो वो इनमें से क्या होगा? Okay, so just to kind of bring the clarity about Mr. Manoj, I think it's important that we first understand who Mr. Manoj is. So this is basically a snapshot from the IIT Bombay alumni page, and you can see that he basically pursued a dual degree from IIT Bombay, right? Which means UG and PG both, and he's currently the founder and CEO at Atomberg Technologies. And there was a specific lecture which was dedicated to Mr. Manoj, where he talked about how he started his idea of Atomberg, what were the initial few ideas which they worked on, and then after probably 4 to 5 ideas and concepts and venturing out for a few years, they reached in terms of setting up Atomberg with the kind of concept of and the product in the line of smart products and having smart fans and those kind of things. So yeah, he mentions a brief profile. He's a great passion for robotics and engineering since college days, and he participated in a lot of competitions. So if the students are looking at this video, I think it's kind of helpful to you as well, that uh, when you are into an education setup, that doesn't mean that you only study and study and study. You can participate in a lot of competitions, which obviously pertain to your and matches to your interest areas. So like he's doing, uh, competitions on those lines, and then he also is a quite hockey player of his, and he represented his team as well. If you scroll down the and this page, you will see all those things as well. Okay. Manoj founded Atom Bug in 2012. For the first 3 years, he bootstrapped in a project mode, developing data acquisition, motor control, and process control for IT and other research labs. In 2015, he developed first prototype of electrically commutated energy efficient DC motor. Same year, the company launched ceiling fan with the brand Gorilla in the market. It was the turning point to foray into motor-based business home appliances. Manoj is the working CEO and the founder at Atomberg Technologies. So that is the background of Mr. Manoj, who is the CEO and founder at the Atomberg Technologies, who are into smart products, and they started smart fans and those kind of things. So, coming to the question and its answer, as mentioned in module 8 by Mr. Manoj Meena, a designer job is to address which of the following factors, and the right answer is customer aspirations. If you have gone through the content from week 1 to week 8, you would now kind of very clear from the fact that it is about product and market fit. It is about matching the needs of the customer, and how customer discovery is very very important. So terms like customer discovery, product market fit, understanding customer needs. So now you see here that each of them are basically kind of highlighting certain aspect around customer. Now this talks about this talks about. So customer plays a very, very important role in your entire journey of entrepreneurship. If you do not have customers, however great your idea is, however beautiful and utility wise your product is, it's not going to sustain in the market, right? So customer is very, very important. And why it is important? Because you need to match to the customer needs and customers' aspirations. Okay. So business scheme can be different. It can come and go. Product brief depends on which area you want to address. But all these things can happen only when you have been able to meet the customer needs and aspirations. Okay. These all things can come later. Okay. ये बाद में भी हो सकता है. But उससे पहले आपको आपके कस्टमर का नीड, उसकी एस्पिरेशन समझना बहुत जरूरी है. Once you have this kind of understanding that who your customer is, what is the need and aspiration, you can actually build प्रोडक्ट ब्रीफ. आप इनको प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट बना सकते हो और उस प्रॉब्लम पे काम कर सकते हो. आप उस पे कॉन्सेप्ट जनरेट कर सकते हो, प्रोटोटाइप आइडिया, ऑल दोस थिंग्स कैन कम इन द पाइपलाइन. वी हैव सीन ऑल दिस एंटायर प्रोसेस. तो इस पे आने के लिए आपको सबसे पहले अपने कस्टमर को पकड़ना होगा. यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट योर टारगेट ऑडियंस, यू हैव टू सी, रीच आउट, टॉक टू देम, एंड दैट्स व्हाट ऑल दिस सेशंस टॉक अबाउट. Whichever lecture you take, there is a strong emphasis on customers. Okay. So the correct answer is customer aspirations. Okay. If you have any doubts, anybody, you can please pause me. We can, discuss in more detail. But meanwhile, let us proceed to our next question. Okay. So take a time. Just try to read the question, and then I'll go about this particular question. The question is, which of these are some important insights one can draw from Atomberg case study? Remember, we talked about in the previous question. It was by Mr. Manoj Veena, who is one of the founders of the Atomberg, as discussed in the module 8 by Mr. Manoj Veena. Okay. So, abhi humne baat kiya, they were into what? They were into smart products, and they started their journey with the segment of ceiling fans. है? ठीक है, तो प्रश्न ये है कि एटमबर्ग केस स्टडी से व्हाट आर द इंपॉर्टेंट इनसाइट्स व्हिच कैन वन ड्रॉ, है ना? तो इस केस स्टडी से हमको क्या, हम इससे डिराइव कर सकते हैं या इसके क्या मेन इनसाइट्स?
लास्ट बार बस आप गेट अंदर से लॉक कर लो, ये अगर कोई नीचे पे चला गया आप कर लो ना, बाहर से लॉक आपके पास चाबी नहीं है, बाहर से लॉक करना होगा। जब किया है
जस्ट अ मिनट, जस्ट होल्ड ऑन.
ऐसा होगा कि नेटवर्क खुल जाए।
So I'll just pause for a moment and I'll be back. हाँ. अरे धीरे धीरे. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry for that brief, uh, you know, uh, hiccup there. But since we are working in a lab and the lab needs to be secured, so we have to, come and go. So that was the hiccup. So I hope my screen is still visible. Yeah, I think it's visible. Okay, great, great. Everything is perfectly fine. So coming again to our question. Which of these are some important insights one can draw from the Atomberg case study as discussed in module 8 by Mr. Manoj Meena? तो हमने देखा कि Atomberg case study क्या था? Where they were trying to, work around smart products, smart appliances, and they started with the segment of ceiling fans, right? When they were explaining their journey, they also identified and they mentioned that, there were some critical, insights into it. Okay, so the options are keep exploring what is next. ठीक है, आगे क्या next, आगे क्या, keep your motivations low, put efforts in the distribution of प्रोडक्ट के डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन पे आप ध्यान दीजिए. ओके, और चौथा है पुट एफर्ट्स इन इवॉल्विंग दी टेक्नोलॉजी. इसको आप कैसे इवॉल्व कर सकते हो और बेहतर बना सकते हो. ठीक है, अगर आप ये ऑप्शंस देखो, आई थिंक इट इज क्वाइट सेल्फ एविडेंट. ओके, सो लेट अस सी ऑप्शन बी, कीप योर मोटिवेशंस लो. मोटिवेशंस लो होने से क्या होगा? कुछ नहीं होगा. इनकरेक्ट रिस्पॉन्स. यू नीड टू बी हाईली मोटिवेटेड. आप स्टार्टअप कर रहे हैं, यू आर वर्किंग ऑन अ सर्टेन आइडिया, हाउ कैन बी यू लो ऑन मोटिवेशन, राइट? सो मोटिवेशंस नीड टू बी रियली हाई. ठीक है, आप मोटिवेटेड नहीं होंगे तो कौन मोटिवेट होगा? कस्टमर थोड़ी मोटिवेट होगा. यू नीड टू बी मोटिवेटेड. है, एज अ स्टार्टअप फाउंडर, एज द the parent of your idea, you need to be highly motivated, while working on any of the concepts. Okay, next क्या है? Put efforts in the distribution of the product. Okay, now put effort in the distribution of product. Basically we are talking about channels. अगर हम lean मॉडल कैनवस की बात करें, जो कि हम आगे बात करेंगे, it is basically talking about channels. How do you reach your customers? How are the different strategies of reaching the customers? Okay, but यहाँ पे अगर हम इनकी बात करें, मनोज जी की बात करें, तो he didn't highlight this, है ना? उन्होंने तो बोला कि भाई आप कस्टमर के एस्पिरेशंस को पकड़ो, उनके कस्टमर के नीड्स को पकड़ो. यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द नीड्स ऑफ द कस्टमर, you try to build a product, and then you try to address it, right? So you have to understand that kind of underlying factors in order to proceed. Okay, so this goes off, this goes off. Then you have keep exploring what is next. So is it evident in our case study? We'll go through it. Put efforts in evolving technology. Yes, I think it's it's a big requirement, and we'll see how it is a big requirement. Okay, now see this recap. What is happening? We are evolving technology. So if you see from left to right, can you see the kind of scale difference? हैं? इतना बड़ा आपका असेंबली मोटर था, अब आते आते वो यहाँ पे इतना हो गया और ये और छोटा हो गया, छोटा होता जा रहा है ना। एज यू आर प्रोग्रेसिंग फर्दर, एज यू आर इवॉल्विंग विद द टेक्नोलॉजी, कैसे इवॉल्व की टेक्नोलॉजी? जो नॉर्मल मोटर होती थी उसकी जगह आप आए बीएलडीसी के साथ। बीएलडीसी क्या है? ब्रशलेस डीसी। ठीक है, हम परमानेंट मैग्नेट्स लाए यहाँ पे इंस्टेड ऑफ इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेट, और हमने देखा कि हम ड्रामेटिकली जो साइज है हम बहुत रिड्यूस कर रहे हैं, राइट? द साइज इज ड्रामेटिकली रिड्यूस्ड। ओके, ये नहीं होता अगर, क्योंकि आप टेक्नोलॉजी अगर इंप्रूव नहीं करोगे, इवॉल्व नहीं करोगे, तो यू विल बी स्टक विद दिस, एंड दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ एरिया विच दे सॉ। उन्होंने देखा कि भाई आपके रेफ्रिजरेटर में कितना कुछ हो रहा है, आपके टेलीविजन में कितनी स्मार्टनेस आ रही है, आपके सीलिंग फैन में स्मार्टनेस क्यों नहीं आ रही है, राइट? सीलिंग फैन आपका स्मार्ट क्यों नहीं बन रहा है, क्यों इवॉल्व नहीं हो रहा है? दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ प्रॉब्लम दे आइडेंटिफाइड कि भाई इसमें तो बहुत काम हो सकता है। एंड देन इवेंचुअली दे सेड कि अच्छा चलो हम लोग देखते हैं क्या कर सकते हैं। तो उन्होंने एटम सेंस करके अपना एक एल्गोरिदम बनाया विच इज अ ट्रेड सीक्रेट। ठीक है, उन्होंने बहुत सारे पेटेंट फाइल किए और उन्होंने फर्दर काम किया। उन्होंने देखा कि भाई उनका जो साइज इतना होता था उसको वो इतने में कंप्लीट कर रहे हैं, और वैसे भी जमाना किसका है? मिनिमल का है। I won't say that the entire world is going for minimalism, but then obviously there is a huge segment which actually, kind of follows minimalist practices, minimalism in design, and that is where they kind of really utilize that feature. Now, so if you go back, one feature is put efforts in evolving technology. Okay, so we can see how this factor is coming into play. Okay, ये जो आपका ऑप्शन डी था यहाँ से सेटिस्फाई हो रहा है। आगे बढ़ते हैं। एक्सप्लोरिंग व्हाट इज नेक्स्ट। ठीक है, अब ये कहाँ से हमें मिल रहा है? इनके प्रोडक्ट पोर्टफोलियो से। ठीक है, सो obviously they came up with BLDC fans. It was very successful. It was hitting out the markets. बहुत अच्छा काम चल रहा था। बट ऐसा नहीं था कि उन्होंने यहाँ पे आके दे स्टॉप्ड, या यहाँ पे आके दे स्टॉप्ड, या यहाँ पे आके दे स्टॉप्ड। They also were working on what are the other areas they can venture in, what are the other areas where you can use their motors, or where is where they can use their trade secrets, and then come up with something very very interesting, another smart range of products, another so you can see pedestal fans there, you can see the mixer grinders there, and that is how they're trying to get into the different segments. So they're not stopping at certain aspect. Now they are evolving the product, and at the same time they are also looking at different products, और कहाँ जा सकते हैं और इसको कहाँ utilize कर सकते हैं, they also plan to go into the air conditioning industry as well. Okay, so one needs to keep exploring what is next. Even if you have one very successful product, try to work on its further improvement, है ना? जैसे प्रोफेसर चक्रवर्ती बोलते हैं serial innovation की बात होती है, right? For example, in the case of petrol pumps, in one of the lectures he talked about, how they get involved, 8 से 10 साल बाद, they come up, they work on the design. तो इसी तरह हमें भी वी हैव टू कंसिस्टेंटली इवॉल्व। टेक्नोलॉजी भी इवॉल्व करनी है, प्रोडक्ट रेंज में भी देखना है हम कहाँ आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, कैसे आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। ओके, सो द करेक्ट आंसर्स आर कीप एक्सप्लोरिंग व्हाट इज नेक्स्ट and put your efforts in evolving technology. So these are the two correct answers. All right, आगे बढ़ते हैं क्वेश्चन 3 पे। As discussed by Mr. Rakesh Rajiv in module 8, Remember Mr. Rakesh? He's from Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. का साइन कहाँ पे? साइन भी आईआईटी बॉम्बे में. What are some of the primary steps to build a lean model canvas? Lean model canvas, if you remember, how is it? It captures the basic essential points. है ना? ऐसे ग्रिड जैसा है जहाँ पे हम कस्टमर के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं, हम रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम्स के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं, हम कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं, डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स, प्रॉब्लम्स के बारे में हम जान रहे हैं, वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन के बारे में हम जान रहे हैं, different factors, every pertaining to one of these segments, but all that happening in one sheet of page. So you get a complete overview of, your startup at one single place. Okay. So the question is, as discussed by Mr. Rajiv in Module 8, what are some of the primary steps to build a lean model canvas? Options हैं, list your target user and customers, list your customers' top 3 problems, list your educational qualifications, outline a possible solution to each problem. Okay, so take some time, try to absorb what the question is and try to attempt it. So if there are any learners who are there in the call, since I am not able to see the Google Meet as of now, अगर आप हैं and you would like to participate in this question, you can please share your understanding. Okay, just take a minute, try to attempt it. प्राइमरी स्टेप्स बताने हैं आपको लीन मॉडल कैनवस के, जो कि राकेश जी ने बताए थे in his understanding and in his explanation of lean model canvas. Okay, so let us just go through the options. List your target customers and consumers. ये हमने पहले क्वेश्चन में भी देखा था. भाई यूजर्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिना यूजर्स के तो हमारा स्टार्टअप ही नहीं चलेगा, तो ऑब्वियसली हमें टारगेट यूजर्स के बारे में जानकारी होनी चाहिए. तो यस, आई थिंक दिस मेक्स सेंस. लिस्ट योर कस्टमर्स टॉप 3 प्रॉब्लम्स. भाई अगर यूजर्स हैं तो भाई हमें प्रॉब्लम्स के बारे में भी ज्ञान होना चाहिए. यूजर्स हैं तो उनके पेन पॉइंट्स क्या हैं, व्हाट आर द पेन पॉइंट्स, व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस, व्हाट इश्यूज दे आर फेसिंग. यस, दिस ऑल्सो मेक सेंस, राइट? ठीक है. लिस्ट योर एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशंस. व्हाई? भाई आपके एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन से आपके स्टार्टअप में क्या इम्पैक्ट पड़ रहा है, क्या आपको यूजर को कुछ फर्क पड़ रहा है कि भाई आपका क्वालिफिकेशन क्या है. ओके, फॉर एग्जांपल, देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम एंड द यूजर इज फेसिंग दैट प्रॉब्लम. ठीक है, मान लीजिए अगर हम फैन की बात करें तो यूजर बोल रहा है कि भाई जब मैं फैन तेज करता हूँ फैन से बहुत आवाज आती है, फैन से बहुत आवाज आती है, मैं फोन पे बात नहीं कर पाता हूँ, मैं टीवी अच्छे से नहीं सुन पाता हूँ. ठीक है, अब अगर आप इसको जाके बताएंगे कि भाई मेरा क्वालिफिकेशन है, मैं पीएचडी होल्डर हूँ यहाँ से और मैंने गजब का काम किया है, इज दैट गोइंग टू हेल्प? क्या आप अपने बिजनेस मॉडल में अगर अपना क्वालिफिकेशन लिखोगे, is it going to be helpful? So it might help in terms of when you have a diverse team. ठीक है, ये यूजर के लिए बेनिफिशियल नहीं है, ये आपके लिए बेनिफिशियल है when you are setting up a startup. Because one needs to have a complementary team, which means that people with different and diverse skill sets come together and form a team so that you get a multidisciplinary point of view. आपको अलग अलग डायमेंशन से, अलग अलग डोमेन से पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज मिल रहे हैं और आप फिर अपना प्रोडक्ट डेवलप कर रहे हैं, राइट? सो दिस डजंट मेक एनी much more sense to a user and neither to a business investor. They are actually looking at what problem you are solving, how you are solving, how the revenue is being generated, what are the different costs which might occur. It could be operating cost, it could be fixed cost. Okay, आपका वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन क्या है, आपके टारगेट यूजर्स क्या हैं, उनको क्या प्रॉब्लम आप एड्रेस कर रहे हैं, आपका सोल्यूशन क्या है. ठीक है, उनको इन चीजों से मतलब है, आपको क्वालिफिकेशन से इतना आइडिया नहीं है. Okay, so this is how we validate. So you need to identify your customer segments. Perfect. You need to identify your problems. You need to have your solutions. Solutions से आपको revenue stream क्या generate होगी, उन solutions का proposition क्या है, किन माध्यम से आप अपने यूजर्स को वहां तक पहुंचाएंगे अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को, कैसे आप इवेल्युएट करेंगे कि दैट यू आर ऑन द राइट ट्रैक, you can set up your own milestones. What are the different costs which will be required, fixed and variable, recurring costs and the fixed costs. Okay. And then unfair advantage, something that can be copied easily. Okay. So अभी के सेंस में देखें तो if you are a company, data is very very important. आपका डेटा जो है, डेटा इज फ्यूल दीज डेज, है ना, डेटा इज एवरीथिंग. So for example, they use the example of Uber. So they are collecting a lot of data. What are the most used commutes, कहाँ पे ट्रैफिक सबसे ज़्यादा होता है, कहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा हमें यूजर्स मिलते हैं, कहाँ पे सबसे कम मिलते हैं. So they can actually use these data and generate a lot of insights out of it. ओके. सो से फॉर एग्जांपल एक जगह जहाँ पे काफी ट्रैफिक जैम हो रहा है या सबसे ज्यादा राइड्स वहां मिल रही हैं, हाउ कैन बी यूटिलाइज. हो सकता है कि वो उन एरियाज को लोकेट करें एंड देन दे प्लेस सर्टेन साइन बोर्ड्स, बिल बोर्ड्स. ओके. सो जो भी डेटा आप कलेक्ट कर रहे हो, ऑब्वियसली डेटा analytics is all about that. You're filtering data and you're trying to get meaning out of your data. So it's just an example. It's not something which was told uh, in the lecture. I'm just thinking aloud and presenting you an example. But then data is very very important. How you filter data, how you utilize it, how you make money out of it is another game altogether, right? So coming to our question and answer, राकेश जी ने द प्राइमरी स्टेप्स टू बिल्ड अ लीन मॉडल में बताया है, यू नीड टू लिस्ट योर कस्टमर टारगेट कस्टमर्स. आपके जो कस्टमर के टॉप 3 प्रॉब्लम्स आपको ढूंढने होते हैं और आपको एक पॉसिबल सोल्यूशन बताना होता है विच एड्रेसेस द प्रॉब्लम्स. भाई जो यूजर्स ने प्रॉब्लम बताया, यू नीड टू एड्रेस दैट. ओके. सो दिस इज कनेक्टेड टू दिस. ऑलराइट. सो ए बी एंड डी आर द करेक्ट रिस्पॉन्सेस. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now comes question 4. As explained in the module Sign Technology by Koini Bhatt, IP or product developed in academia needs. IP is what? Oh, so sorry. Okay. IP का क्या मतलब है? Intellectual property. ठीक है. So here IP is basically referring to intellectual property. तो मिस पोइनी भट्ट हैं जो कि साइंस से हैं. साइन इज व्हाट? सोसाइटी फॉर इनोवेशन एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. तो उन्होंने बताया था कि अगर आप एकेडमिया मतलब व्हेन यू आर पार्ट ऑफ एन इंस्टीट्यूशन, कॉलेजेस में आप पढ़ते हैं, अपने कॉलेज में काम करते हैं, कुछ आइडिया जनरेट करते हैं, कोई प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करते हैं. आईपी और प्रोडक्ट डेवलप्ड इन academia needs what? It needs financing, it needs collaboration, it needs clean ownership title or now let's go through the content and go through the options. So you need to refer to Miss Poini's content, what she mentioned about in her presentation during the week 8 lecture. Okay. तो देखिए, आईपी या फिर आप प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करते हैं तो भाई फाइनेंसिंग की जरूरत पड़ती है. ऑब्वियसली यू नीड फाइनेंसिंग, यू नीड कोलैबोरेटर्स, but we are referring to a very specific you know content. The specific content relates to week 8. तो अगर हम इनकी बात करें तो she clearly mentioned about one single aspect which was very very important. What was that aspect? It was about clean ownership title. ठीक है. अब इसका क्या मतलब है? What do you mean by clean ownership title? We'll go through it. So take a time and just try to read this. So this was the slide which was you know presented during the week 8 lecture. Just try to go through it, है ना. एक बार आप पढ़िए और आपको समझ में आएगा कि what we are talking. Just try to read it once. तो जब आप ये पढ़ेंगे you will realize that as a student, this is especially important, when we are talking about student as somebody who's going to, utilize the idea generated in a course or during the course of study, and then, trying to take it further. ठीक है? तो कई बार आपको लगता है, you must feel that, this is my idea, this is something which I created in my college, so I own complete right of it. But that is not true. So if you read the first point, it clearly says that intellectual property or product developed in academia needs clean ownership title. Clean का मतलब क्या हुआ? No, why clean term is used is that because जब आप अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन में या एकेडमिक वर्क में कुछ चीज बनाते हैं, ओनरशिप जो होता है lies with the host institute. For example, you are studying in ABC Institute, and in one of the subjects you try and build something. Okay, now later you realize that yes, it's such a great idea, I should take it forward, and you thought that okay, I since I made it in my college time, I have the complete right, and let me start the startup around it. And but what happens is, when whatever you developed in an institution environment, in a college environment, the ownership lies with the host institute. Why? Because they are kind of guiding you. You have faculty mentors, you have faculty members who are guiding you or teaching you the subject. You might be using the infrastructure of the college. You might be using the sources, the prototyping facilities of the college, right? आप वो सारी फैसिलिटी यूज करके आप अपना प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हो, आपको गाइडेंस मिल रहा है, आपको मेंटरशिप मिल रहा है, आप रिसोर्सेज यूज कर रहे हो, and then you are creating that product, and hence the ownership जो है it lies with the host institute. ठीक है? तो what happens अगर आपने ऐसा कुछ किया है और आप उसको आगे ले जाना चाहते हो, you need to go for लाइसेंस और टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर. या तो आपको लाइसेंस लेना पड़ेगा, या टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर के लिए आपको अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन से एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप करनी पड़ेगी. भाई, आई वांट टू टेक दिस फॉरवर्ड लेटर. Okay, so I would want some kind of license or some kind of declaration that I can take this forward. Okay, so you need to have this clean ownership title. अब बात जैसे मैंने बताया फैकल्टी मेंटर्स की, देयर आर सर्टेन गाइड्स हु आर इन्वॉल्वड इन अ प्रोजेक्ट. ओके, दे कैन वेव देयर राइट्स टू द आईपी एंड बेनिफिट बाय ईदर गेटिंग शेयर इन द रॉयल्टी और बिकमिंग अ पार्ट ऑफ द कंपनी फॉर फ्यूचर सपोर्ट एंड गाइडेंस. Now this again is very important. For example, usually what happens is that even in undergraduate and postgraduate courses, you generally have a final project, okay, or a degree project, for which you are allotted a particular guide or a supervisor या faculty mentor आप बोल लें. So आप उनके अंडर में कुछ काम करते हो. Okay, so whenever you are trying to develop a product under that kind of scheme of things, again the ownership lies with the host institute, and your guide is very very involved, and it's a contributor to your project. All right, so अगर आपको उनके साथ कुछ करना है, तो इधर you can loop them, okay, as a mentor in your startup for further guidance, या फिर वो आप अपने rights दे सकते हैं, by getting a share. Now that share could be in different forms. It could be in the form of royalty, or it can be in the form of money. That you will have to figure out. Okay, but this clarity and this clean ownership title is very very critical, है ना? क्या होता है, जैसे उसमें भी बताया गया था, देयर वर इंस्टेंसेस वेयर आपने ग्रुप वर्क में कुछ काम किया, है ना, आप ग्रुप में भी काम करते हो, देयर आर मनी मोर स्टूडेंट्स इन्वॉल्वड. तो अगर आप उस आइडिया को आगे लेके जा रहे हो, तो लेटर आपके ग्रुप मेंबर्स आके बोल सकते हैं हमने भी कंट्रीब्यूट किया था, अब हमें भी रॉयल्टी चाहिए, हमें भी पैसे चाहिए, राइट? सो इसी के लिए, सो बिफोर यू नो get into the market and start selling things, get these basic things done. And that's where this sign and incubators, they actually guide you and help you, हैंड होल्ड यू कि भाई इन सिचुएशंस में आगे नहीं फंसना है. भाई फंसने का मतलब है यू आर इन्वॉल्विंग अ लॉट ऑफ stress, financial stress, running around, and then legal issues. So instead of getting into that, it's better that you work on this at the very initial step, and then you proceed with your idea with a clear set of mind कि भाई ownership title के everything is sorted. Nobody will now come later asking for credit or royalty or whatever. Okay? ठीक है? So the correct answer is clean ownership title. I hope I've made myself clear. Come to the fifth question. As explained in module 8 by Rakesh Rajiv, something that can't be easily copied or bought is known as. Options हैं unfair advantage, fair advantage, unfair disadvantage, none of these. So Rakesh ji ne, who is from Sign, you know, if I would want to give you a hint is lean model canvas. You remember you had this entire big chart, उसमें अलग अलग ऐसे ब्रैकेट्स थे, तो उसमें एक ब्रैकेट था जो बता रहा था आपका which pertains to this particular zone. So is there anyone in the meeting as of now who can want to attempt the question? Think the learners are not present. That's fine. That's fine. We'll proceed. That's not an issue. ठीक है. तो let us see the example. किस पे बात हो रही है? हाँ जी. तो ये एक लीन मॉडल, जो हमारा लीन मॉडल कैनवस था, सॉरी, लीन सो दिस इज अ स्निपेट, है ना. इट वाज, समझ लो आप, ऐसा था. हमने क्या किया है, हमने एक इतना पार्ट का स्निपेट निकाला है और वो हम बेसिकली शो कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. So you have unique value proposition, you have unfair advantage, customer segment. So if you read this unfair advantage, it says something that can't be easily copied or bought. यानी कि आपका एक unfair advantage क्या है आपके स्टार्टअप का? In your startup, what is this unfair advantage that cannot be easily copied? कि लोग आसानी से खरीद नहीं सकते या नहीं कर सकते. सो लाइक आई मेंशन इन वन ऑफ द स्लाइड्स, डेटा, ज्यादातर लोगों के पास डेटा ऐसी चीज है जो आसानी से नहीं कॉपी की जा सकती. या फिर अगर हम एटम बग की बात करें, दे हैड दिस ट्रेड सीक्रेट, है ना. सो इट डिपेंड्स, हर स्टार्टअप का कुछ एक अलग अनफेयर एडवांटेज हो सकता है, बट दिस एसेंशियली मीन्स दैट अनफेयर एडवांटेज मीन्स दैट समथिंग विच that can't be easily copied or bought. Okay, so the correct answer is this one. Great. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. So unfair advantage is the right answer, and by mistake, so we'll just try to erase it. The answer to this question is unfair advantage, this one, जो हमने अभी डिस्कस किया है. ठीक है. Next question. According to Ms. Poini Bhatt in Module 8, as an entrepreneur, one should give primary importance to which of these factors before releasing product or idea to a market? Say, for example, you are an entrepreneur, you have got a very fascinating product. बहुत अच्छा आपका प्रोडक्ट है और and there is this market. ठीक है. And market में there are a lot of people there. I'm just trying to depict the scenario. ठीक है. So now you are the owner of this product, and it's a perfect, nice, it's a new product. Before it, kind of makes a place here, क्या करना पड़ेगा आपको? प्रोडक्ट में जाने से पहले, मतलब मार्केट में जाने से पहले What do you do with your product? Apply for free registration, export them globally, export them to internal organization, or apply for patenting. आसान है, मतलब it's not that difficult question. If you see the reference here, just read it out. The best thing to do is patent. आप अपने डिजाइन को पेटेंट करा लीजिए. Before disclosing the work, if the product technology is such that it is generally unknown, then you should be careful in not infringing upon other person's IP. ठीक है? So before releasing into the market, you actually what need to do is ये आपका मान लीजिए प्रोडक्ट है. Then you put it there. ठीक है? तो आप अपने नए प्रोडक्ट को पहले पेटेंट से प्रोटेक्ट करिए और फिर उसको मार्केट में रिलीज करिए. That is what has been suggested, and the correct answer is apply for patenting. ठीक है? I think it's quite easy and clear. इसमें कोई बहुत ऐसा rocket science नहीं है to understand. Let's go further. Let's move on to our 7th question. As discussed by Ms. Poini in Module 8, which amongst these are some of the key points to address for first generation entrepreneurs? ठीक है, तो जो हमारे फर्स्ट जनरेशन entrepreneurs हैं, what are some key points to address? क्या है वो key points? Options क्या हैं? Entrepreneur mindset, flexibility, ethics, yeah, all of the above. So think some time, try to understand, try to understand the question. एक बार आप पढ़ें इसको और आपको समझ में आएगा कि what could be the answer to this question. Okay, just give some time to the question. तो मिस पोइनी भट्ट जो कि साइन से हैं, साइन आईआईटी बॉम्बे इनक्यूबेटर है, उन्होंने बताया कि अगर कोई फर्स्ट जनरेशन एंटरप्रेन्योर है तो उसके लिए व्हाट आर द की पॉइंट्स. लेट मी ब्रीफली एक्सप्लेन व्हाट व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय फर्स्ट जनरेशन. सो फैमिली में जो वो पहले होते हैं, द फर्स्ट वंस who go ahead with the entrepreneurship are called first generation entrepreneurs. I mean, if you see the language, it's someone who is first in their family lineage to start their own business. आपके फैमिलीज में जो पहला व्यक्ति जो होता है जो बिजनेस शुरू करता है, और उसी तरह फिर आपका सेकंड और थर्ड जनरेशन आते हैं. बेसिकली दोज हु आर इनहेरिटिंग, तो वो इनहेरिट करते हैं फर्स्ट जनरेशन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ आई एम हैविंग अ बिजनेस, देन प्रोबब्ली माय चाइल्ड और माय डॉटर और माय सन विल बी द सेकंड जनरेशन एंड देन गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, राइट? तो those who are the first ones in their family who are starting, so those are called first generation entrepreneurs. तो उनके लिए बोला गया है कि क्या की पॉइंट्स होते हैं. तो अगर आप course content you would have understood by now. I think obviously entrepreneurial mindset is very much required. You're getting into entrepreneurship because आपके फैमिली में अभी तक किसी ने किया नहीं है ऐसे, राइट? सो यू नीड टू हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ माइंडसेट. अगर कोई ऑलरेडी कर रहा होता देन प्रोबब्ली यू वुड हैव ऑलरेडी गेन्ड अ लॉट ऑफ insights and experiences from them. You need to have flexibility. No, ये जैसे कि एग्जांपल्स में बताया गया था कि pivoting is a very very important aspect. तो वो flexibility होनी चाहिए आप में. For example, that if you have seen the example of smart stethoscope, वहाँ पे pivoting कैसे हुई? So when they were working on stethoscope, they came up with the idea that you have a headset जैसा कुछ stethoscope बनाएंगे, है ना, जिसमें plugs होते हैं. All right. So for example, something like this. ऐसा कुछ. सो जो व्यक्ति का हमें जो धड़कन सुनना है हम ऐसे सुनेंगे. ओके. नाउ व्हेन दे वेंट टू द डॉक्टर सेड दैट हमारा जो इमेज है दैट इज विद द स्टेथोस्कोप. If we wear the headphones like this, people might feel that we are listening to music or we are not attentive, or probably they might feel that we are some kind of DJ or performer, right? So that was the kind of image which was associated with the product. That is, we are talking about the headphones. Okay. So that insight they got, then they pivoted the idea. They said that, okay, what we'll do is we'll use the stethoscope, the existing and the traditional stethoscope, and what we'll do is we'll try to figure out and we add something here which makes this smart. Okay. सो दे पिविटेड देयर आइडिया. उन्होंने ना पिविट किया अपना आइडिया. दे डिडंट स्टक कि भाई नहीं हम तो नया स्टेथोस्कोप ही बनाएंगे. दे पिविटेड एंड दे शिफ्टेड गियर्स टू ओके लेट अस मेक द एग्जिस्टिंग एंड ट्रेडिशनल स्टेथोस्कोप अ स्मार्ट वन. ओके. सो दैट इज वेयर यू नीड फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी. देन कम्स एथिक्स. एथिक्स क्यों जरूरी है? बहुत जरूरी है एथिक्स. नाउ एथिक्स इज नॉट only important in an entrepreneurial journey or you're setting up a business, but I think whichever dimension of profession you are in, whether you are a student or you are into an organization, I think work ethics, it's really important. It is something which is core to an individual. So लोगों को ड्यू क्रेडिट्स देना, पीपल को एक्नॉलेज करना, जैसे हमने थोड़ी बहुत बात की ओनरशिप टाइटल की. इफ यू आर नॉट crediting your supervisor or guide or so even that comes as a part of your ethics. So these things are, all the things are important. Okay. So the correct answer will be all of the above. So because all three are important, all three are required. Okay. Let's go further. As discussed in week 8, sign aids in infrastructure, funding, mentoring, which is the guidance, all of the above. ठीक है. this साइन क्या है? साइन हमने बताया था सोसाइटी फॉर इंक्यूबेशन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप है. कहाँ पे है? आईटी बॉम्बे में है. कहाँ का हेल्प करता है? टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन आई थिंक it will be very helpful if we see this screenshot from the presentation. Okay. So they are into कहाँ हेल्प करते हैं? वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर देते हैं, वो आपको ऑफिस स्पेस देंगे, आपको एक्सेस टू लैब देंगे, प्रोटोटाइपिंग फैसिलिटीज में आपको एक्सेस देंगे, वो आपको मेंटरिंग में हेल्प करेंगे, वो आपको इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्टीज से मिलाएंगे, बूट कैंप्स में पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे, आपको वर्कशॉप में अलाउ करेंगे, आपको ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करेंगे, आपको एडवाइजरी देंगे, खासकर आपका जो लीगल एस्पेक्ट्स हैं, जो स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन है, जो आईपी है, उसमें आपको हेल्प करेंगे. नेटवर्किंग वेरी क्रिटिकल for startups, investors, mentors, manufacturing partners for creating products. And then funding, extremely critical for a startup. Seed funding grants and angel investors, venture capitalists, banks. And then visibility. because you need to reach the market, you need to get the eye of manufacturers, you need to get the eye of your customers and consumers, and so wherein they have demo day and various events. So sign इन सारी चीजों में आपकी मदद करता है, right from infrastructure funding to mentoring, networking, visibility, advisory. Okay, so since only three of them are mentioned here, the correct answer is all of them. We'll come to our second last question. According to Professor V.K. Chakraborty in Module 8, a designer and entrepreneur should be very clear about dash at various levels of one startup journey. ठीक है, तो प्रोफेसर वीके चक्रवर्ती ने बताया कि अगर कोई डिजाइनर या एंटरप्रेन्योर है, वो किस चीज के बारे में क्लियर होना चाहिए थॉरोली. आईपीआर, इंटेलेक्चुअल स्कीम, इंटेलेक्चुअल फ्रेमवर्क, या ओके, सो द आंसर इज राइटली एविडेंट, आईपीआर, इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स. जैसे कि हमने पहले भी देखा है कि आईपी राइट्स आर वेरी क्रिटिकल बिकॉज फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू हैव एन आइडिया एंड यू put something in social media, YouTube, or in the mass public without protecting it, then obviously the chances of getting an IP is difficult because first of all the idea is explicit. No, it's not no more explicit. I mean, it's already there in the market. People can actually build simultaneously. It is already out in the open. So before you get your things published and in the open world view, it's important that you get it protected. And getting those things protected means getting your IP rights there. Okay, intellectual property, जिसको आप पेटेंटिंग के थ्रू भी कर सकते हैं. So that is how you can actually protect. सो आईपीआर की बहुत बहुत एक एक ऐसा एस्पेक्ट है जो हम यूजुअली वी इग्नोर इट, but I think in the long run, it is, it makes a significant impact in the entire process of your startup. Okay. We'll go to the last question. According to Mr. Rakesh, Lean Canvas dash. It helps verify your product. It helps you focus on the customer. It sell before you build methodology, and none of the above. So just have a think about it. Read it. Maybe you can refer. I'll just be back in a minute. Okay. Okay, so welcome back. Okay, so we are finally into our last question. According to Mr. Rakesh, Lean Canvas, what all things it does. So it's a multiple choice question, so you can have multiple correct answers. Does it help verify your product idea? Does it help focus on the customer? Do you sell before you build methodology? And none of the above. Okay. So let's take the reference. So the lean canvas helps verify your product. It helps you focus on the customer and it sell before you build methodology. Here they gave the example of again smart stethoscope. If you see, they went to the doctors, they seek their opinion and they found out some very interesting insights, and that's where they were able to connect. Okay, that this is the requirement, this needs to be done. All right, so the correct answer is A, B, and C. Great. So we are done with the 10th set of questions. Now I'll just go through the discussion forum questions. This have been detailed, in many of the previous uh, sessions as well. Uh, the first four questions we have already discussed. Five, six questions was about which we had taken up in our previous week's session. This question is a new addition, which says that the transcripts only till lecture five have been uploaded, and I really appreciate the learner that you are actually looking at the various contents which are being provided by the learner, because these are the things which usually get unnoticed and missed. So thank you for observing that, and that has been very well raised with our NPTEL counterparts. Okay, so they are looking into it. As soon as I get a reply, probably I'll post it in the discussion forum, and you can actually then look forward to it. All right. So let me make it full screen. I'll just briefly. So this is the content recap. This is something which already you would have gone through while you had attended the lectures. But just to highlight the important slides, I have just taken these snippets and I've tried to collate it. So this is Miss Poini Bhatt and Miss Pratati. So they were from SIGN, Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and they basically explain, how they work, what they function, how they aid startups. So, like I said in one of the questions, they are into providing facilities like infrastructure, advisory, visibility, networking, mentoring, and funding. So it's kind of doing a lot of help, a lot of hand holding and support to the startups. So it's one of the great place to be in if you have an idea and you qualify and meet those standards and you get into it. I think it's a great place there. This slide basically tells about the kind of impact which had been created by science. So you can see the amount of, laurels which the sign has brought. It has already supported more than, 180 startups, in which, 53 are current companies. Okay. So it and then see the kind of intellectual property which is being created. So, and the amount of generation provided, I mean the employment. Okay. If you see these aspects, you will realize that the kind of value which has been created by sign. Okay. And they are in partnership and in collaboration with different uh, programs, as well as different entities, right from government to corporate to international, as well as like I mentioned, they also support with the funding. Financing helps you with the financing by connecting you with the venture capitalist and the seed funding, so no, they have good kind of networking with them, which acts as a leverage. So the startups who are into their custody, I would say, they really get benefit from all these networks. So I think we have already understood this slide in one of the questions, so we kind of skip it. Again, yes, patenting is one of the most important thing to do before you get into market. So you get your idea, your product patented, and then you go out in the market. Team is again very critical component, and one of the top five reasons why startup fail, it was about not the right team. So yes, team is quite critical in a startup journey, and you need to build a team with complementary skill sets. Okay, so this is critical. Having a shared vision. Okay, because ये भी बहुत important होता है. There are three people and they three are going in different directions. So ये alignment आना बहुत जरूरी है when you are having team members, and the better diversity, the better is the team. Okay. This was a very interesting point, and I felt the need of highlighting it that as startup grows, it requires new skill sets and often new co-founders. Okay, so nowadays, if you see LinkedIn, you will see the job openings of co-founders, right? So पहले ऐसा लगता था कि co-founders के jobs कैसे मिल सकते हैं, but this is one of the reasons that with the requirement of new skill sets, you need new people to join, and you sometimes need new co-founders because many times the existing co-founders, they leave team for whatever reason, and then you have one place vacant, and you require somebody from a different skill set altogether. So it makes sense. It makes sense that you, as per your requirement, आप अपने team की requirement, अपने startup की requirement के हिसाब से you can actually publish the requirement of a new co-founder. And then these are certain conditions. Again, it's from a legality point of view, but then I think as ma'am also mentioned that ये long term में कहीं ना कहीं बहुत helpful होता है when the co-founder is leaving, or when you are onboarding somebody. All these things related with legal and finance aspects need to be sorted and cleared out. The critical act of mapping the core activity and putting it in place gets overshadowed by the misconception that the product or technology can sell by itself. This statement is important because many times we are very emotionally attached to a particular idea or a product, and that's where we kind of uh, unable to understand the bigger and the wider picture. And that's where it is important that we don't get too attached with the product. We try to sense the market, we try to sense the user need, and then either pivot or go about having a different approach in terms of understanding and approaching that particular scenario. I think this is quite self-evident as of now. Customer discovery has been highlighted in previous lot of sessions, and obviously, I think everybody would agree that it's one of the critical aspects now. We had a presentation by Mr. Rakesh Rajiv, who is from Sign again, who's the senior incubation manager, and then we also looked at the lean canvas model, which was basically by Mr. Ash Moria. And like I mentioned, see the reasons why startup fail and not the right team is also one of the reasons. Top five reasons why not the right team we have that. Okay. So no market need. The first one, ran out of cash, no money left, not the right team, out competed, pricing. Okay. So these are the top five reasons why startup fail. And if you're going to plan a startup, I think it's critical that at least you take care of the top ones. Okay. So I think this we have already discussed. Lean canvas, it helps verify your idea. Focus or generate towards who your customer segment is, and then you try to approach people, you target audience, and you can understand how to progress further. MVP or minimum viable product. It's basically just having enough features so that you get some kind of feedback for फ्यूचर प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट. तो एक बेसिक सा ऐसा एक आप मॉडल बनाते हो या मॉकअप बनाते हो जहां पे एक्चुअली पीपल कैन अंडरस्टैंड भाई व्हाट इज इट दैट यू आर ट्राइंग टू बिल्ड एंड दे कैन जनरेट सम काइंड ऑफ फीडबैक. This was a graph which was shared, which says innovation adoption curve. So there are people who are innovators, early adopters, and then who are laggards, who are very late in adopting innovation. So many times you look for people who are early adopters because they would be actually excited in trying new stuff, onboarding new things, testing new things and sharing feedback, those kind of things. This we have already discussed, the different segments of lean canvas, and it gives a complete picture in one go about, what your startup is about, what it is addressing, how you're planning to generate revenues, all those things. We talked about unfair advantage in one of the questions, which is something which cannot be copied easily or bought. Okay. So now comes the snippets from the Atomberg case study. So they highlighted this in a pyramid shaped model that how they are winning. So digital first marketing and sales, differentiated products, and their strong R&D capacity of more than 80-member team who are working on those lines. This is the kind of portfolio they started with. So they worked on the segment of ceiling fans, and this one is the Renaissance fan, which is clearly very much in demand, and you can see the kind of size which has been dramatically reduced with BLDC motors. Huh? This is the evolving technology which we have already discussed. The shape and size, how they have been managed to make the fans more minimalist and yet more efficient. These are their launches of different aesthetically well looking fans, and obviously with much more functionality and utility. The another segment of pedestal fans which they had come up with. They're also coming up with Mixer Grinder, and if you go through the USPs, you will find that they are addressing some of the most pertinent problems in a kitchen. So when you are looking at a kitchen, you have very constrained space, jagah nahi rehti hai, and normally if you see the juicer and mixer, they have this kind of shape, and it would require, and then there is a knob which would do cut, tuck 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 sounds. So they are trying to address all these things, the size, the sound which is being generated using the knobs, और आप एक साथ चटनी और वो चीजें नहीं बना सकते, तो they also added that feature because they were making use of their trade secret motor. ओके, और पावर वाला फैक्टर तो था ही इनके पास, और बहुत ज्यादा साउंड करता था, वाइब्रेशन होता है व्हेन यू नो इनफैक्ट in my house I have a small child, and whenever we turn on mixie, he runs around and grabs us. He has that fear of that sound. It's really small as of now. Is 1.5 year old, but see the kind of impact sound generates onto very very young people. So I think maybe we would want to buy this one as well. Okay. And this is the product portfolio. We have already seen they are trying to get into the segment of air conditioning and vacuum cleaners as well. That's what they mentioned. This is how they are being performing, and then this the projections which they are able to forecast for themselves. And if you look at this, I think it brings a bright picture of how they were able to address customer needs. The kind of ratings they are getting in Flipkart and Amazon. I think it's really appreciable work which they have done. So you can see the importance of customer journey, customer discovery, and how it leads on to such fruitful outcomes. So that is how we end our session today. And so let me just click on this slide. So with that, we are ending our slideshow. I hope those who are listening or would listen in future this particular live session, you would have something interesting, something more to learn from. And I wish you all best of luck in terms of attending these sessions and attempting your weekly assignments, so that you come out with flying colors. So any inputs, any feedback? All right, all right. So let us close this session. Thanks once again to all of you. Keep enjoying NPTEL. Keep participating. Keep attending the sessions, and attempting your weekly assignments. That is very very important. And obviously, practice your academic work and institutional work. That is something which you cannot miss out on. But keep learning. Okay. Thanks a lot. Happy weekend.